Self-defense is obviously a big part of what martial arts is all about, but there's different levels of self-defense, and I like to put this under the heading of true self-defense. Obviously, one of the first things people think about is punches and kicks and, cool moves and things like that. But I think that those of us who stay in the arts for a bit of time have a less sensational and a more rational understanding. Martial arts is developing good character traits from within, a thirst for knowledge and understanding of how to apply that which we learn inside of the dojo to the outside world. And obviously, we don't want to walk around solving all of our problems with punches and kicks. So there's a great deal that goes on up here that occurs through the process of martial arts. And one of the things that I really want to make sure that we emphasize is broadening the perspective that people have of self-defense. And that's why I like to call it true self-defense. So true self-defense could definitely be protecting yourself from violent threats, but it's also about protecting yourself from poor health, meaning that you want to make sure that you have a healthy diet, you want to make sure that you exercise regularly and make fitness a priority in your life. You also want to make sure that you take care of yourself. You bathe regularly, you brush your teeth. These are all forms of true self-defense because it protects us from harm. Ignorance can be harmful. So another form of true self-defense is to become well educated, and not just through school, but through everything that you do in your life. I recommend try to learn something new each and every day. Either learn something new or improve upon something that you already knew. Improve your understanding or your ability to apply it and make use of it in your daily life. Another form of true self-defense is protecting yourself from the negative thoughts and actions of others, not being influenced by peer pressure, being able to be secure within yourself and being able to say no when it's appropriate. Sometimes even our best friends want us to do something that on the inside we feel is wrong. You have to have the courage to be able to stand up to them. You have to be able to stand on your principles. Malcolm X said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So it's important to have a good moral compass and be able to make the right choices. Choice is the most powerful tool we possess, so you don't want to be easily swayed, so to speak. Another form of true self-defense is also protecting ourselves from our own negative thoughts. When we start to berate ourselves in our head, or if somebody says something to us that's derogatory or condescending, and then we really start to believe it. And then you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I don't like myself anymore. That's very harmful to your psyche. So you want to try to train yourself not to let those everyday things that kind of rub you the wrong way really bother you. You learn to choose your battles wisely this way. So ABCs of self-defense. What's A? Anna.
Avoid potentially dangerous situations.
Very good. Avoid a potentially dangerous situation basically breaks down to creating safe habits. See, most people know what they need to do to stay safe, they just don't always do what they know. So what's a safe habit? Kate?
Brushing your teeth.
Brushing your teeth, sure, it's a health habit. What's another one?
Look both ways before you cross the seat.
It's probably the first safe habit you were ever taught when you were a kid. Before you cross the street?
Yes.
Look both ways before you cross the street. What's another?
Wear a seatbelt.
Wear your seatbelt. These are all things that we know we should do to stay safe. But again, I know a lot of people who don't wear their seatbelt, so we don't always do what we know. A safe life is not to live a paranoid life. In fact, once you adopt this mindset of just creating safe habits, you actually have more freedom than ever before because you know that you've done everything you possibly can to be safe, and then you can just go about your daily business. Now, what's B in the ABCs? Kate?
Be calm and breath control.
Be calm, use breath control. The idea is that when emotion swells, you cannot think clearly. When you cannot think clearly, it's very difficult to act in a high-stress situation. So we say often that logic and emotion are like oil and water. They don't mix. So if you want to think logically and speak rationally, you have to try to control your emotions. Breathing is the first step towards that. What's C? Kyle.
Communicate with confidence.
The way you just spoke communicated with confidence. What's another way we can communicate with confidence besides our tone of voice? Ma'am? Look people in the eye. What's another way?
Posture.
Posture. Your posture, the way you stand, it's called body language. Everything about yourself should say, I'm a really nice person, but I'm the wrong person to pick on. So if you have your hands in your pocket, your eyes down, and you're kind of like a wallflower, a potential bully or worse might look at that and say, this person doesn't believe in themselves. This person seems weak just by my view of them. So that's the person I'm going to go after. But if you stand tall and proud, not arrogant, but you just hold your head up high and you look around and you seem to have a sense of awareness about you, then that's a lot of times the number one deterrent. So it's all about trying to project confidence with the way you carry yourself. And verbal tone of voice, eye contact, and posture can help. What's D? Catherine?
Feeling bad situations.
Don't make a bad situation worse. Now, a lot of times when we think self-defense, we think fighting, we think fighting like this, right? But it's not always fighting with fists. A lot of times it's just a verbal conflict that happens sometimes on a daily basis. So I gave a tip once before. It was seek first to do this and then to do that. Ma'am?
Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Seek first to understand and then to be understood. It basically means that if you're willing to listen to the other person's point of view, a lot of times you'll be able to speak a little bit more appropriately on the topic, rather than just doing what most people do, which is waiting for your turn to speak. And that's where you go back and forth, and all of a sudden someone raises their voice, another person raises their voice, and all of a sudden you're in a fight. And sometimes just allowing the other person to speak will allow you to formulate your thoughts clearly. You'll also be able to fully understand where they're coming from. If you understand their point of view, you might be able to come to some rational agreement or a resolution, or just maybe be able to peacefully agree to disagree. What's E?
Mermaids.
Michael? Use your environment to your advantage. So how do you know when you need to start checking around for things that you might need to use for your advantage? Okay, and a lot of times we have a sense when someone's following us. It's an instinct, or it's just trust your gut, or intuition, whatever you want to call it. It's always in response to something. It always has your best interest in mind, so you need to learn to listen to it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay, what's F in the ABCs? Anna?
Yell fire instead of help to draw attention to you.
Yell fire instead of help to draw attention to you. It's very good. Other things that you can yell no matter what your age is say, help, he's not my dad. Help, she's not my mom. That would get other adults to key in on what's going on. A lot of times people just need to hear something other than help. It's very odd, but a lot of people don't respond that well to help. But they'll respond to things like fire! That might make someone take action. G, what's G? Kyle.
Give help, get help, and get away.
Give help, and get away. Now remember, you're not a superhero, so when it comes to give help, what are some ideas of things you can do?
911.
Call 911, call the police. 911 doesn't always take you to local dispatch, so if you have a personal cell phone, and look up the direct line for the police and the fire department in any city you find yourself in, so you can get a direct line. Now, if you do dial 911 and you get service on your phone, they will redirect the call, but it's better to just go directly, so I do recommend doing that. And then we come to H. When all else fails, hit hard, hit fast, hit first. It's about exhausting every other possibility. The meat-headed approach of fighting solves everything is not for us. We want to do whatever we can to stop the conflict from getting physical, but if we are forced, we do not want to just be susceptible to being assaulted. I don't care if it's a bully or if it's a violent attack outside of the realm of school, you need to be able to keep yourself safe. Use the ABCs as a guideline, and then the best thing you can do is just try to be aware of your surroundings, because 95% of all self-defense is just being aware of your surroundings. So everybody, the bottom line is, fighting doesn't solve our problems. In fact, the word fighting, we should really try to eliminate from our vocabulary. We defend ourselves. And if we're forced to respond physically, then we respond physically. But that's only after we exhaust our system of A through G in the ABCs of self-defense. There is one other point that I think we should be aware of. On our website, we have martial arts and the law. And even though you're young, it's an important thing just to kind of become knowledgeable in. You can't cross a line and go to the extreme. So nothing we do is ever without the benefit of restraint. It's important to understand what is appropriate and what is allowed based on the legal system in whatever state or whatever country you would find yourself in. And ignorance is no excuse. You have to be responsible for your actions, no matter where you are. So just bear that in mind. Okay, everybody, that'll do it for today. Give yourself a clap. Double clap. All right, Dane, jump everybody. Savvy quick. Where'd my go? I thought it was falling down.